Hello guys, welcome back to this episode. I am recording from the half Pacific class that are my Philippine. I'm in Philippines from the location. That's right, I'm in Philippines of the capital. So let's get started at the Philippine of my Philippine piece. Let's do it.
You'd be right to call some of the world's banknotes a little boring, or drab, or unimaginative.
Ooh.
My apologies for immediately offending about 1.3 billion people, but
Oh,
as
wow.
someone who's drawn to colourful and shiny objects, you've got to admit, these aren't exactly the most exciting banknotes in the world. The Philippine peso, however, is an explosion of
Not that. So this is 20 pesos. This is 20 pesos, also known as money 20. This is 50. This is 100, 200, 500, 1,000. But they are expensive. But look, let me just. Those are two of these 500 and 1,000 are expensive. You can get anything, but you need some 500 and 1,000 to get $1 million. Even even 200 too, you can buy anything. Even 100, but 20, but 20 and but 20 and 50 are not expensive, but cheap. But cheap is expensive. So they are cheap. They are. I'm gonna show you how to cheap. These are 50 are cheap. 20 cheap. 100. It's also the not that one because this is not this is expensive one, but it's also so cheap. It's also cheap. And I don't know what that's gonna be problem. But I don't know what's gonna be problem. So okay, let's get started from the video.
colour, featuring natural wonders, native wildlife, and historical figures. And in this video, we're going to take a closer look at them and their hidden secrets. If you enjoy it, please consider subscribing.
Just subscribe to me, Bubbly Matt, and have a kiss.
That's a little side note. I get tons of comments about the Philippine flag being wrong in this intro.
Ooh.
It isn't wrong, it's just that when displayed vertically, the colours get flipped. Anyway, let's begin with the lowest denomination, the bright orange 20 peso. It sees the country's second president,
This is the president of the Philippines.
Manuel L. Quezon, who
This called Manuel L. Quezon. She is the one of the presidents, but there is the but the first president is the President Duterte. But President Duterte from the Philippines, but the President Duterte are gone. But she's still in the house, but she switched to another president, yung Bongbong. So let's just.
also appears in the watermark and again in this box on the top left. There's also this cool tilt effect up here, where if you tilt the note and get the angle just right, you can see the number 20.
Oh, I didn't see.
The background features a Malacanang palace, plus a historical scene of when Filipino was declared the national language in 1935. The reverse sees an Asian palm civet in the foreground and the Banawe rice terraces at the back. Now this banknote is fairly low value, approximately 32p, 40 US cents, or 36 euro cents. And with the amount of wear and tear they receive in circulation, it was recently deemed more cost effective.
These are cheap. These are very cheap. This only $1. This is cheap. Only $5 are cheap. Are cheap of the dollars. But $10 are not cheap. But it's also cheap. But example, if you get the 1 peso and 5 pesos plus, so if you get 1 peso, if you get 1 peso plus and 5 equals 6 pesos. but you can add 10 to plus the 5 equals to 15 pesos. Just like you can buy Coke. You can buy Coke, but just 50 pesos. Just get $10 and 5 get 10 coin. Just get 10 coin and plus 5 and you get 15. So you're just gonna get
To
it.
replace it with a coin. Although I don't have one to show you, it retains Quezon's portrait from the banknotes, which are being slowly removed from circulation.
Oh.
Next comes a striking red 50 peso, featuring 4th President Sergio Osmeña, with an image of the country's first parliament on the left and of the Leyte landing on the right, the first steps towards the country's liberation in the Second World War. The background, as with all denominations, is made up of microprint text.
Also known as it says it's lima, um, lima. Only I am a Filipino guy and I am Philippine and lima limampung limampung piso limampung piso.
On the back can be seen a pair of giant trevally fish in front of Tar Lake, a crater lake within
salmon.
which is an active volcano, which itself has a smaller crater lake within. Like all the notes in this series, the featured species glows under UV light, and these random flecks within the paper become visible. Whilst ordinary paper simply glows bright blue, and ordinary banknote paper doesn't glow at all, the Philippine peso has added these tiny fluorescent strands into the paper at the pulp stage as an additional security feature. Things start to get really interesting with the 100 peso note.
100 peso note, but they are super cheap and you can buy everything. You can buy just one money. You can buy just one money to get that.
Features 5th President Manuel A. Rojas alongside the country's central bank to his left and a historic.
This is a Binyo Salamo 3. Pangulo ng Pilipinas.
Scene of the proclamation
Sandaang piso.
of the Third Republic on his right. The
Sandaang
reverse
piso.
features a Mayon volcano and a whale shark, which is a seriously cool animal to have on your currency.
Whale.
But when it was released, this note was deemed too similar in colour to the.
But and you can see, but there is a spot of the color. You see? I'm gonna give it 5 seconds. You spot the color of the blue. Find it. Did you find it? There is blue right over here on the 100 peso, but there is the 1000 peso, also known as to the left. Which as belong to the 100 peso to 1000.
Blue 1000 peso, particularly this middle section. Though it might seem easy to tell them apart here in perfect lighting, imagine you're a taxi driver working at night, or you work in a dark club or bar or somewhere. It created enough problems to warrant a reissue of the note, fully purple. Today both notes circulate simultaneously, but the old style are no longer printed and becoming increasingly rare to find. But it certainly isn't the rarest peso note. That title goes to the 200 peso, often referred to as the $2 bill of the East. Although I couldn't find any reliable figures, this denomination is rarely seen in circulation, and many of the country's residents have never even seen one, and nobody seems to know why. What's more, it's a note of very useful value, worth about $4 and bridging the gap between the 100 peso and the 500 peso, so it should.
That is some kind of America of 2 pesos and more than 10 pesos of American. More than 500 more than us. I'm a Filipino and this is the American of money. That's not true. Because don't add some, but you need to add more to make 1,000,000 two, and then you can add one. You're gonna add two of two 299 plus one. It means 100, but you can get 500. 5 plus 500 equals 1 up 500 plus 500, it means 10,000. Just get it for a chef to add 500. You can get 500 to 500 to get some Robux, or you can get some money from Coke.
Rightfully be a very common banknote. If you know the reason, please let me know, as I've gone slightly mad trawling the web for answers.
I don't know, but it's us. We are the Philippines, but we got 100 to 100 and 501,000 because more than your American money. That's not true, but but you see the $100, you can get $100 from your money. And let's see what better than my country or better than your country. Let me know in the comments below. American, you need to comment below. No other countries, just American and Philippines only. Okay, so this.
But anyway, it sees the country's ninth president besides the House of Independence and the Baraswain Church. Although these images were slightly updated in 2017, the
Whoa!
reverse features Atasia against a backdrop of the country's gorgeous chocolate hills.
Oh, chocolate
Next is the vivid yellow 500 peso, portraying the country's 11th and first female president, Corazon Aquino. Beside her is her husband, Senator Benigno S. Aquino Jr., who was assassinated in 1983. To the right is a statue in his honor, and on the left a scene from the People Power Revolution that followed his
Whoa.
death. Interestingly, it was dubbed the Yellow Revolution, since many protesters wore yellow ribbons, which explains the color of the note. And even more interestingly, the couple's son went on to become president himself and was in office at the time of the note's release. His signature can be seen to the right of the portraits. The reverse features a blue-named parrot and the Puerto Princesa subterranean river, and was subject to quite some controversy. Firstly, the parrot's beak and feathers are incorrectly coloured, later revealed to be a limitation of the printing method used. And then the little dot that indicates a river on the map of the Philippines is slightly incorrect. I mean, it's not exactly the biggest error in the world. I'm looking at you, Australia, and your $2.3 billion typo.
What?
But then the 1,000 peso came under fire too. The front depicts three famously heroic figures who died resisting the Japanese occupation during World War II. To the left are crowds celebrating the centennial of Philippine independence in 1998. A South Sea pearl is featured on the reverse, with the Tubataha Reefs National Park in the background, including some cool-looking fish and a sea turtle. Again though, this denomination was criticised for the location of the map marker. Now this time the location is quite dramatically wrong, but the printers explained they moved it so it wouldn't interfere with this, a UV security mark of the featured species. I suppose it makes sense, but it would have made more sense to just not include a marker at all. And on all 6 notes, the province of Batanes was entirely excluded from the map, though again this was a conscious design choice, essentially cropped out since it was too far north. Despite these minor criticisms, the Philippine peso has truly joined the ranks as one of the most beautiful, interesting, and certainly colourful currencies on the planet. Not only do they detail significant events in the country's history, but they showcase the very best of its natural wonders and indigenous wildlife, resulting in a series of notes that faithfully honour such a wonderful country.
Yeah. Now this is a wonderful country at the back. But guys, I have a theory of the money notes. I'm gonna show you guys. There is a hidden money base in the world. I will show you guys. I'll show you guys this in part 2. Bye guys. See you later. Click subscribe button and click the notification button and subscribe to House Chris from the Cats. Okay, so bye. Like the video.